What's up, boxing fans? This is TBE Boxing, back at you again. Today's topic: Errol Spence's Ldbc fanboys' new excuse for him ducking Crawford is that Bob Arum don't want to fight. Let's chop it up and see what it's all about.
Got the money for minutes, pretty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? That life before riches, huh? That life before riches, huh? Pretty bitch, show me titties, huh? And I got the glaze, run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.
Okay, boxing fans, let's talk some boxing. All right, so new developments between the Errol Spence, Terence Crawford continuing saga. The Errol Spence Protection Brigade is out in full force, okay, trying to protect Errol Spence from his own actions, or should we say his inaction when it comes to this fight with Terence Crawford. So the latest we are hearing from the Ldbc fanboys that's protecting Errol Spence, the guys that formed the Errol Spence Protection Brigade, is that Bob Arum don't want to fight. And why are they saying that? Well, because Bob Arum just recently came out and said that the fight can happen, but the only person actually standing in the way of the fight is Errol Spence. And that Hal Heyman, wants the fight to happen, but Errol Spence is saying no. Now, the funny thing about that is this. I've also heard from somebody else, not Bob Arum or his team, but from someone else in the, someone else, that does boxing commentary, who has some inside who got inside knowledge about what's really going on, that Errol Spence really don't want to fight. That the people in the Al Heyman, team inside the PBC hierarchy, they all the matchmakers, everybody else, they all know that Errol Spence doesn't really want that fight with Terence Crawford. This is what they're saying in the PBC. Okay, so the fact that Bob Arum comes out and says this now, just basically confirms all of that. And, so it's pretty much general knowledge. It's not just, people out, in the YTBC and the general public that knows that Errol Spence doesn't want this fight. It's even people inside the PBC, people who have, who are in the know, people that, do boxing 24/7. Everyone knows that Errol Spence doesn't want this fight. Okay, it's becoming common knowledge now, in and out of boxing. Okay, so it's hard to cover it up anymore. I mean, at the end of the day, if you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. So Errol Spence, one thing about Errol Spence though, shout out to Errol Spence. One thing about Errol Spence, he's great at fighting on Twitter. Okay, but he'll challenge Crawford on Twitter. He'll fight with Crawford on Twitter, but he doesn't want to go in the ring and fight with Crawford at all. Okay, and this is what this is what we're seeing. He's great, Mr. Twitter Fingers. He's a warrior on Twitter, but when he's in in front of Crawford, look at this picture that we're looking at right now. Look at Crawford. Look at him, all up in Errol Spence's face. And look what Errol Spence is doing. Trying to look away, look the other way. Crawford is all up in his face and in his face. And you can clearly see that Spence don't want any smoke with Crawford. Take a look at the picture. This is not a Photoshop picture. This is the actual picture taken from the video. Okay? So this is what we're looking at. So now, the Errol Spence Brigade is out there now after Bob Arum came out and said what he said. And now they're out there talking about the reason why the fight is not happening is because Bob Arum don't want to fight. You see it? I mean, these guys come up with all kinds of excuses. I mean, excuse after excuse after excuse. First it was the other side of the street. Then it's 60-40. Then it's 70-30. Then it's this. Then it's I can fight CARNE-LO. Then it's, you know, all kind of excuses why, you know, they're not making this Crawford fight. Errol Spence have every excuse in the book. I mean, all the excuses that you can come up with. Now, the new excuse is Bob Arum don't want to fight. How much sense does that really make? That's the biggest fight in boxing. Why wouldn't Bob Arum want to fight? And the funny thing about these guys, you know, LDBC guys and these, you know, Spence Protection Brigade, is that, you know, they always call Bob Arum a liar. Okay? But when Bob Arum says something negative about Crawford, they all co-sign that. He's telling the truth all of a sudden. When he's talking about Crawford, like, oh, Crawford don't sell this, that, and the other. You know, he can build a mansion and all. Oh, they all bring that up when they're talking about why Errol Spence should get 60-40. You know, they bring up what Bob Arum is saying. Oh, well, his promoter is saying this. His promoter is saying that. But when Bob Arum says something else that, you know, they don't agree with, he's a liar. You know what I mean? I mean, you can't have it both ways, man. You know, it is what it is. But, you know, I'm not going to go into a long dissertation on this. We're going to go to the videotape, okay? We're going to go to all of Errol Spence's excuses. We're going to go and hear what Errol Spence is saying out of his own mouth, okay? So, but before we do that, let's hear what, I mean, even Errol Spence's trainer, Derek James, his coach, is coming out, you know, to make excuses why the fight shouldn't happen. Okay? And let's go to the videotape. Enough talking. Let's check this out.
Shot or what? I mean, he still got other guys he's gonna fight or whatever. I mean, his fight schedule may be planned out. You know what I'm saying? Like, after this one, we got another big one, We want to get the 3 belts or whatever the case may be. But hey, listen, man, I think that fight will possibly happen. But I think that if you think about it like this, Errol can fight Keith Thurman, Sean Porter. He can fight Pacquiao. He can fight Danny Garcia. He can fight Ugas. He can fight all these guys. So his legacy has nothing to do with fighting Terrence Crawford.
You sure
I
it's
met
not
Alham.
Sam Moss?
I met Alham.
I know.
Personally.
So have I.
What did he say?
Can we get both of them in the ring? Can we get both of them in the ring?
He said, I'm fighting Mikey. Then I might fight Sean Porter, Keith Thurman.
So he didn't
Pacquiao.
mention Terrence, huh?
He didn't.
The smartest thing you can do is to stay away from Terrence. That's the smartest thing.
You're a legendary promoter. I like that. You're a legendary promoter. I like that. I like that. You're the best in the business. I like that.
Been around this long.
You're a legendary promoter. I like that.
So
I like
he know
that.
fight.
I like that.
Hey.
End of 2019.
Hey,
Did you not say that?
All that.
Did you not say that? That's what your promoter said.
This is what I'm saying.
I read it all.
This
That's
is
what
what
your
I'm
promoter
saying.
said.
This is what I read it all too.
That's what your promoter
Terrence
said.
Crawford, wait till he get a belt.
Yeah.
He ain't did nothing in the welterweight today.
You
When
haven't
he get
did
a belt,
nothing.
you want
You
to go
haven't
over
did
there. Keith Thurman want to go over there, and now y'all want to say, oh, I ain't fought nobody, but I got a belt now, so why?
Okay. Sean Porter got a belt too.
So now
Sean
this-
Porter got a belt too. Sean Porter. So why am I go to easy road and you knock Sean Porter out? So why am I go to easy road and you knock Sean Porter out? So why am I go to easy road and you knock Sean Porter out? Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I?
Nigga, this dude,
Why wouldn't I?
you a smart man.
Is the Spence you fought last September at Staples, would that guy beat Crawford, or from what you know?
That guy was very good. He was good to the point where the last round, we came in, we touched gloves. Normally it just touch gloves and you fight, but I touched gloves with him and I said, good shit, boy, because the work was that good and the night was that good and that competitive, and I wanted it, and I could tell that he wanted it too. Does that fighter beat Terrence Crawford? That fighter was strong. That fighter was very good. I saw some holes. I saw that I was a step ahead of him a majority of that fight. And with saying that, no, I don't think that fighter can beat Terrence Crawford. But I've already said that in the match, I don't think Errol Spence could beat Terrence Crawford. I think that Terrence wins that fight. I think he's got more in his arsenal.
Now, I follow you on social media, like a lot of people do, and there was a graphic that was thrown up recently of all the top welterweights. And you commented like, look, what are we doing here? I beat several of the guys on this graphic. Can we be done with everybody else but Terrence Crawford? Can we just do Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford?
I mean, that could happen. We got to see how it go. But, you know, like I said, I can move up to 160 and fight CARNE-LO ALVAREZ.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen. I don't see it happening. Why would you go up north and face CARNE-LO, but you won't face Terrence Crawford in the same weight class as you?
Thank you.
That's a money thing for him. You know, I think that Spence is at a point now, and correct me if I'm wrong, or I think he's just wants to get the money, and then he wants to lead the game. That's it. He has no intentions on fighting Terrence Crawford. And I think that even if Terrence Crawford was to jump ship and to go over there to PVC, I still don't see the fight happening over there. And I stand by that until they actually sign and fight.
I know you already talked about getting back to the ranch, very understandable. But what did you think of Terrence showing up ringside? Do you think that helps build some buzz to make it a big fight?
No. I mean, he got to live up to his words. If he say he's not worried about me, then I don't know why he doing what he was doing here. I probably wouldn't go to none of his fights, so I'm not worried about Terrence Crawford. Like I said, I'm going to enjoy my time with my kids and chill out and just reflect on this year and a half that, you know, I came back and, you know, we're going to move on in the summertime and see who I fight. So we'll see. I got to talk to my manager, Al Heyman, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so there it is. Okay, what more do we need to know? Okay, people keep saying that Errol Spence wants to fight. Errol Spence wants to fight. No, he doesn't want to fight. And he's saying it to you in many different ways. He doesn't want to fight. Okay, Terrence Crawford have him shook. Okay, and it is what it is. We have to face reality. Okay, you know, those are the facts. Okay, so people can say what they want. You know. But, you know, all this talk about 60-40, 70-30, you know, just goes to show that Errol Spence really doesn't want this fight. So the latest thing, you know, these guys talking about now that, you know, now the Spence Protection Brigade is out there talking about Bob Arum doesn't want to fight. And that's the new talking point. That's the new narrative. I heard that on from our Contender Regime. Shout out to Contender Regime. Okay, that's his new talking point, you know, because Errol Spence is really looking bad out there, people. Okay. He's looking like a duck, okay? I mean, everyone knows it now, okay? In boxing and out of boxing. I mean, it's hard to avoid the fact that Errol Spence is ducking Terrence Crawford. I mean, it's just blatant ducking, and everyone sees it. So Errol Spence is out there looking real shaky. He's looking real bad right now. So out comes the Spence Protection Brigade trying to prop him up, okay? You know, trying to prop him up to make him look better. You know, now it's Bob Arum that doesn't want to fight. So you have Contender Regime, you know, realizing his boy, you know, Errol Spence is looking shaky. So he's trying to prop him up. He comes with this shaky video, you know. I mean, you can see that in the video. He doesn't even believe what he's saying, okay? But he's out there talking about, oh, well, you know, it's Bob Arum this and it's Bob Arum that. You know, but we all know the deal. We all saw the video just now. Errol Spence don't want this fight. And no amount of propping up it's gonna make him look bad, you know, make him look good. Okay, he's just looking shaky right now because he is shaky. Okay, now the latest I'm hearing about is the fact that he's talking about his legacy in terms of money and talking about other fighters who are legends and who retired and what are they doing money wise. Well, if you really worried about money, Errol Spence, the biggest fight in your career will be Terrence Crawford. That's where you're gonna make the most money. So why aren't you running towards that fight if you're so much worried about money? So we can see that this talk about money is just another smokescreen, okay? Because if he was really worried about making money, he'll be trying to get that Terrence Crawford fight because that's the money he's gonna make. You know, that's the fight where he's gonna make the most money in his entire career. Okay, he could probably make retirement money in that fight if he really wanted to. Okay, so you know, we can see his thing about being worried about his legacy after boxing in terms of his financial situation is just another smokescreen in many of smoke. I mean, it's so bad that you have Letitia Crawford, Terrence Crawford's sister, calling out Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? And talking about how he's ducking Terrence Crawford. I mean, Errol Spence is really looking bad out there right now, man. It's not a good look at all. Okay? You know, I mean, you know, you have a woman, you know, Errol Spence's sister calling you out. Okay, so I mean, you know, people, you know, you know, quiet is kept, and people might not believe this, you know, even though because I make a lot of videos about Errol Spence ducking, because the reason I'm making these videos is because he's ducking, so I'm going to call it like I see it. But I like Errol Spence. Okay, I think he's a very intelligent guy. Okay, which is probably why he doesn't want to fight Crawford. Okay, and I think he's a fundamentally good boxer. I think he has the fundamentals, you know, good jab, you know, a lot of good skills as a boxer. But I just don't think that, you know, he would beat Terence Crawford. Now we don't know how the fight is going to play out. It might play out one way or the other. We don't know. But in order for us to know, the fight has to happen, and then, you know, Errol Spence has to step in the ring, but he doesn't want to do that for whatever reason. And you know, I think we more or less know what that reason is. Okay, Crawford is no joke. So to go in there against Crawford is a big risk. And so we see him talking about his legacy in terms of his financial stability after the fight, because he's worried about, you know, probably getting retired by Crawford. You know, that fight might be, because we already know what Crawford's going to go in there and do. He's not going to go in there and play. He's going in there to get the knockout. Okay, and he's going in there to you know, basically, you know, seek and destroy. That's what he's all about. So we can't really, you know, in a lot of, so that's why I don't really, even though I keep calling for the fight, I understand why Errol Spence, you know, has reservations about taking this fight with Crawford, and we can see his reservations. You know what I mean? He has every excuse in the book, so it is what it is. But you know, at the end of the day, based on what we have seen so far, there's only one thing, you know, there's only one way this fight's going to happen. We're going to have to drag Errol Spence into the ring, kicking and screaming, to make this fight happen with Terence Crawford. It's not going to happen any other way. Okay? The fans, the YTBC, everybody's going to have to drag Errol Spence into the ring against Crawford, because he's not going to step in there voluntarily. Okay? No matter what his fanboys out there talking about. Okay, they can make all the excuses they want to, but we already know what the deal is. So that's the only way the fight is going to happen. Okay, so Errol Spence, you know, is going to continue to make more excuses. He's going to, you know, his protection brigade, the LDBC, is going to come up with more excuses. He's going to co-sign them, and they're going to keep making excuses as to why this fight should not happen. We're already seeing all the excuses they've been making so far, and it's going to continue in that way. Okay. And it is what it is. So, I mean, I'm not going to go too long on this video, because, you know, there's no point in beating a dead horse, okay? You know, we already know that he don't want to fight, okay? This new talking point or narrative they got out now about Bob Arum don't want to fight, and more smoke screen, okay? And like I said, you know, even the PBC people know that he doesn't want to fight, okay? And it is what it is. And so we just got to face the reality of it, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, who knows? Maybe he might get an epiphany that is Errol Spence, and he might decide to get in the ring. He might get a moment of, you know, courage or whatever, and decide to step in that ring against Crawford. But I'm not going to hold my breath, okay? You know, at this point, I don't really see it happening. You know, I think that, you know, the boogeyman, Terence Crawford, you know, have Errol Spence shook to the core, okay? And you know, I don't see, you know, he's talking about his legacy after. I mean, what do we need to see or hear? I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know, he's talking about what's going to happen to him financially after the fight now. Okay, this is what he's talking about now. He's worried about that. The fight is not even happened yet. He hasn't even gotten in the ring yet, but he's talking about that. You know, and again, if you're worried about finances, then you should be taking the fight. It's the biggest fight of your career. So why are you avoiding the biggest money maker of your career if you're really worried about money? So none of this stuff doesn't make any sense, what Errol Spence was saying, okay, or his team, okay? I mean, it is what it is. So, you know, I'm not going to keep going on with this. We already know what time it is. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, okay? So you can get all the latest, you know, on what's really going on, not what the fanboys are out there talking about and their narratives and their talking points. Just make sure you log on to my YouTube page. Subscribe to the channel, That's all I have right now. This is TBE Boxing. I'm out.